Hey neighbor, welcome back to the channel. My name is John, and it's time for a review of EP4, not titled EP4 thankfully. This one is called Permanent Radiant by the electronic rock duo Crosses. Crosses is technically a side project for Deftones frontman Chino Moreno. It used to be a trio, but now Chuck Doom is no longer in the band. Apparently he and production extraordinaire beatmaker Shaun Lopez, the secret weapon in this Crosses formula, they weren't getting along, and if somebody was gonna go, it was gonna be Chuck and not Shaun, because as we hear with this new 6-song EP, Shaun is crucial. I wasn't fully into my Deftones phase in 2014 when Crosses the project came out. There had obviously been some releases before that, and I was a follower of some of the Sumerian record stuff at the time, some of the bands that they had signed to their labels, so I ended up checking it out. And while I wasn't in love with it, I found myself connected to certain songs like Bitches Brew that I would keep coming back to for years. Suffice it to say, I and most people out there didn't really have that much faith that Crosses were gonna find their way back. It seemed like another one of those one-off side projects, like a Them Crooked Vultures. We get some sort of supergroup, they do one thing, and then that's it forever. Here with Crosses, thankfully, that is not the case, as they slowly started trickling out material during the pandemic. In 2020, they put out a couple of cover songs, and people started to wonder what's going on in Camp Crosses. And then in early 2022, they drop a double single on our ass that I wasn't expecting at all. Initiation Protection landed in March, and then the announcement of the EP came with the release of the stellar track Vivien, which I have kept on repeat on a loop. Even though the Permanent Radiant EP only clocks in at 6 tracks around 23 minutes, it covers a lot of ground. I think that they explore a lot of really fresh ideas. I love that we can go from synth pop to sounding like we're in some sort of dark 80s nostalgic dream turned nightmare. And then also on the likes of Day One, we move over to music that sounds like Phil Collins just unleashing on the Tarzan soundtrack, except it's filtered through the lens of Deftones, Crosses, and everything that both members have ever been a part of. I gotta admit that Day One sounds out of place, not just because of the fact that it's a more positive song and the way that it feels a bit uplifting. It just doesn't necessarily feel like it packs a real punch emotionally because the music around it almost feels a little cheesy and islandy. It's a rare and somewhat small misstep on an EP that really does so many things right. It checks the boxes immediately out of the gate. We're punching with the first track, Sensation. Once we drop off into that hook, that dazzling magic that blends the modernity with the 80s nostalgia, it's a perfect wave, almost a dark wave that doesn't really sound like a lot of the other 80s worship that we've been getting. Track 3's title, when translated from French to English, is Exquisite Corpse, and it's not what you're thinking, nothing like that at all, you weirdos. It's actually more along the lines of a bizarre art style that really makes use of a lot of abstract, very dark, random things that probably would seem disturbing to anybody not doing the painting. There's an unnerving atmosphere present there, almost like footsteps are approaching and you have to run and hide at a moment's notice. The synthesizers on the track, as well as the clapping percussion, really left something with me that I could sink my teeth into. And also, can we give a shout out to the solo on that track? The guitars still come in clutch, and I love that they don't overly rely on that style just because it sounds really good with Chino's voice. He also sounds incredible over some of these beats. Vivien is a prime example that I will not stop praising because it is an endlessly genius, fantastic track. But I also feel that way about some of the other deep cuts like Holier, which I believe actually is getting pushed as a single now, and deservedly so, because there's a lot going on here, and the darkness just fully swallows you whole by the end of the track. Overall, if I didn't make myself clear, I had a fantastic time with this short EP. I'm excited for more, hopefully a full-length album sometime in 2023. I'm going to rate this EP Permanent Radiant a strong 4.5 out of 5, with Day One being my only real holdout.